Hi there, welcome to Lush Living. Today's topic is how to start doing push-ups better. So, yeah, push-ups are all about the foundation of how you set up your body in the best way possible to really maximize the muscle groups that you want to utilize and strengthen. So, we're just gonna dive in. I'm gonna bring you down to the floor. The first place we're going to start is with our hands. So, push-ups are one of the few hand-loaded exercises. Planks, push-ups, kind of the same thing. So if you spread your hand out like a big starfish, you want your middle finger to try to point straight up and down and your thumb to point in as if they're making like an L shape. And you want to spread the webbing of your hands out and really maximize your hand width so that you can displace the forces all across your palms and fingers. So I'm going to come down to the floor, show you what I'm talking about. So I have my hands down on the ground and my middle fingers are pointing straight ahead. My thumbs are pointing into one another. My hands are spread out like big starfish, so I've got the most surface area of my hands on the ground as humanly possible. And this is how you're gonna set up your hands. Oh, hey, Tracy. So I have carpet. It's got a little bit of squish. It's got some decent padding. So one of my cues that I tend to give people is that you wanna try to push every knuckle of every finger down into the ground like memory foam mattress, kind of squish, so that every aspect of your hands is doing the work. Because what I have found in the past that people, whenever they do cat or plank or push-ups, the first thing they complain about are their wrists. And it's typically because they're underutilizing their hands and then the forces of the arm kind of shear straight down into the wrist. But if I displace and spread my hands out and actively push my hands against the floor, it takes the pressure off the wrists. So that's step one. Step two, shoulders and elbows. I'm gonna come sideways. So I have my starfish hands. They are shoulder distance apart, which for most people is probably wider than you think. So if you bring your hands along your sides and just relax them, that is shoulder distance apart. So if I flex my hands down by my sides and look down, that is the width that I would need my arms to be on the mat in front of me, not narrower than that. So my arms are down by my sides, I flex my hands, and then I plant my hands on the floor, and that is the width that I would want to start at. So they're shoulder distance apart. I've got my big starfish hands. You're gonna relax your shoulders down. You're gonna squeeze your elbows straight. Okay. Then you're gonna want your shoulders directly over your wrists. Slightly behind is easier, slightly forward is a lot of pressure on those hands. So if you can get a vertical upper arm, that would be really nice. So, scapula, or shoulder blades, and hopefully you can see mine. We're gonna do a scapula exercise to also prep your body to have better push-ups. So I like to do what I call my shoulder blade push-ups, where you sink your chest toward the floor and you let the shoulder blades draw together. My elbows are still straight, my hands are still strong. And then gently push the floor away, push the floor away, push the floor away so hard that it lifts your chest away from the ground and spreads your shoulder blades apart. From a back perspective, hopefully you can see. If I sink my chest toward the floor, I'm gonna draw my shoulder blades together from behind. And then if I push the floor away, push the floor away, push the floor away, then I'm gonna spread my shoulder blades apart. If you do this in an upright kneeling position, the way I just demonstrated, you'll notice that my back did not bend or change shape. I did not do kind of like a classical cat-cow. My rib cage was actually exactly steady and I was just sliding my shoulder blades back and forth on my rib cage. So The hard part is then translating that when you're loaded on your hands. So we've got our big starfish hands. Our upper arms are vertical. And you're gonna do a shoulder blade push-up where you sink, 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 sink without letting the ribs bend excessively. And then you're gonna push the floor away, push the floor away, push the floor away, again without rounding the ribs excessively. So you've got the spread of the scapula. And this is your setup for push-ups. You do not let the shoulder blades collapse together. You wanna try to keep them as spread out as humanly possible from the get-go. Okay. So we've got our hand position, we've got our shoulder blades, we've got our arms. Now we actually have to bend our elbows. So, we'll go from the back. As soon as everybody gets their shoulder blades in a good position, when they begin to bend their elbows, they immediately lose that shoulder blade connection. So you have to figure out a way of how to prepare your shoulder blades to accept the load of your body and stabilize on your back, which is a really, really, really difficult thing to do. So this is how I prep it. And I'm doing this from a cat position. I'm not even in a full plank yet. So I've got my starfish hands. I've got my memory foam mattress squish. I've got my vertical arm. I'm gonna do a shoulder blade push-up and spread the shoulder blades apart, and this is my prep. From here, I'm gonna bend my elbows an inch and stay, and then I'm gonna check my shoulder blades. And then I'm gonna bend my elbows another inch, stay, and I'm gonna check my shoulder blades. Bend, shoulder blades, bend, shoulder blades, and you basically go as low as you can go, keeping your shoulder blades broad on the back, and then push out of your arms. And again, I'm doing this from a cat, from all fours. I'm not even loaded into a full plank. So we've got the hands, we've got the arms, we've got the shoulder blades. Now we sort of have to lock the shape and bend the elbows independently of the rest of the body. Bend, 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 and then slowly extend. And I'm choosing to do push-ups that are sort of the classical, bending the elbows wide. You can also do tricep push-ups in the exact same way where the elbows run narrow into the body. I just find that those are a little bit harder and less of a classical push-up. So you do your nice spread out fingers, straight upper arms, shoulder blades are spread, you bend a little, you check your shoulder blades. You bend, you push the floor away without straightening your elbows. You bend, you push the floor away without straightening your elbows. You bend, you push the floor away without straightening your elbows. You bend, you push. And you keep going until you feel like you can't go any further, and then you straighten your arms, and then repeat it again. So, if you are unable to do it from a cat position, keeping the scapula broad, chances are you can't do it from a full plank, and you are no longer doing an arm exercise, you're doing a shoulder blade arm exercise. And when it comes to push-ups, the point of them is some core strength and some arm strength. So if you're moving your shoulder blades with every elbow bend, you're sort of losing the point of the exercise. So I'm gonna see if I can do this from plank. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, so I'm in my full plank. I've got my nice starfish hands, a vertical arm. I'm gonna do a shoulder blade push-up because you can even do that from a plank. It's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna bend and I'm gonna push into my arms, but I'm not gonna straighten my elbows. Bend, push into the arms without straightening the elbows. Bend, push, and that's about as low as I can go, and then push the floor away. Yeah, so it's not very deep. So what? Who cares? I'm still getting a ton of strength through my upper arms. I'm loading my arms well, I'm getting some good core work, but to do your push-ups with this sort of strategy is gonna really set you up for better results and more success. It's gonna make them harder, and you probably won't be able to whip out as many as you're accustomed to because chances are you're falling. I'll demonstrate that. So, this. Falling into your arms and letting the shoulder blades pinch together, letting the ribs sort of drop, the pelvis drop, is not optimal for your shoulder girdle. Puts a lot of pressure, excess pressure on your wrists, And it becomes almost like momentum, where you're just sort of falling and catching and then pushing away, falling and catching and push away. And honestly, I think when it comes to push-ups, you are trying to do a controlled descent using your muscles and then push away, also utilizing your muscles. Interesting, right? So let's review. We've got our starfish hands. L shape, on the floor, shoulder distance apart. Lots of pressure through the knuckles, so you're dissipating the forces off the wrists. You have a vertical upper arm that's directly below the shoulder, if not slightly behind. That's your choice. You're gonna do a shoulder blade push-up, and you're gonna try to get really accustomed to that spread of the shoulder blades, which does not mean a round back cat. It's your shoulder blades, not your ribs. And then maintaining that, you're gonna bend your elbows, check your shoulder blades, push the floor away without straightening your elbows. Bend, push the floor away. Bend, push the floor away. Bend, push the floor away. And then when you can't go any further, that's the low part of your push-up, and then push away. Make your brain learn what it feels like to do them in this way. You can pivot your elbows and do a narrow version. Even harder on the scapula, I find, because most people don't have a lot of external rotation. And then go into your plank, push the floor away, find that scapula spread, bend a little, push out of your arms, bend a little, push out of your arms, bend a little, and keep working. Oh. And do like 3 really good effective push-ups versus 10 kind of crummy push-ups. So that's it. Whew, I got my heart rate up. And the reason that push-ups get your heart rate up is because anytime you utilize your arms, your heart rate goes up faster because it's closer to your heart. Insider tip. That's it. That's it for today. Hopefully that gave you some good ideas and strategies. Starfish hands, vertical arms, shoulder blade push-ups, then layer on the bending without letting those suckers, your shoulder blades, pinch together. So hopefully that helps. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. One of the videos that I have online in the reboot program, gotta think about which one it is, actually goes over this. I think it is workout 4 or 5 in the strength. So if you want any more cool tips like this when it comes to like push-ups, you should check out my reboot program, my 6-week program. You can pick and choose what videos you want to watch, but there's 12 of them, all under 30 minutes. I have DVDs of it too if you're not very tech savvy, but since you're watching me on Facebook Live, you might be more tech savvy. But you can also stream it for a monthly subscription, or you can just buy a yearly subscription at a lesser rate. But I will put links to that in the comments. But yeah, push-ups, man. I mean, they're so practical and they're so good, but you want to do them well and salvage some of your joints, yeah, as opposed to just like whipping out a bunch of shapes that resemble push-ups without a lot of effectiveness and optimization of your tissues. That's it. Okay, thanks for joining me. Happy Wednesday. It's gorgeous and sunny here. Hopefully it is where you are too. And I'll see you next week. All right, bye.